Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to Sneaker Stories. As always, I'm your host Chris Jack. Today, checking out another pair of Pharrell Hue NMDs which released just back in December 2020. Without further ado, let's check out the Dash Green colorway. Alright, so this was the first pair of Pharrell Hue NMD, at least in the OG style, that released here in South Africa, at least in 2020, long after the original ones did, the different colors that we used to have back then. I spoke a little bit about this in the Triple Black review that I did just recently, and it's so refreshing to see them come back in a whole bunch of these awesome colorways, albeit colorways that are completely just kind of tonal in the upper. You know, they did go through a phase where things were really colorful and tie-dyes and things like that, and they just kind of weren't really that wearable and not necessarily a shoe that I felt that I could wear like often. You know, it's kind of like a statement pair or something. It doesn't really blend in as well as these solid colors do. And this one really caught my attention. I was super stoked to be able to cop it manually off adidas.co.za, where they dropped exclusively for the price point of 3,799 Rand. And the reason this one really drew me in is it had a completely re-engineered upper on this. It's a completely different mesh, something I have never seen before, at least on a Pharrell Hue NMD, but mostly on other shoes as well. Some people did say it kind of reminded them of the D-Rap, which was an Adidas model, which probably didn't do very well. It wasn't a favorite of mine. It had sort of that fishnet vibe that was going on with it. But these in hand are completely different, at least in my opinion. Now I'm going to start underneath with the outsole of the shoe. As always, you've got a solid black rubber overlay here, and then peeping through the windows, you've got that full length Boost midsole. You'll notice underneath it is completely white, so it's just the raw Boost there. But when you flip up into the midsole of the shoe, you've got this beautifully painted kind of off-white. It's got like a bit of a yellowy tinge. Actually kind of matches up with the coloring of the Pharrell box, which hasn't changed since 2016 as far as I'm aware. And that blends in really nicely with this translucent lacing cage here, which forms part of that EVA plug in the heel section, which follows a gradient down towards the forefoot plug over here, which is done in a more tealy gray kind of color. And then onto the upper, we talked a little about this earlier. It does have a bit of a netting vibe to it, but it is a really thick mesh on here. So it almost feels like it's multi-layered to some degree. So you've got like an external layer and an internal layer as well. And you can kind of see that inside of the shoe of the sock liner because you can kind of peel that fabric back. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, where you do see the sort of like sock liner layer and then obviously the external layer on the outside. And then just towards the forefoot of the upper, as we've come to expect with all Pharrell human races, or at least majority of them, you do have the embroidered lettering over here. This time they've gone with Korean letters, which I believe just say human race. Side by side, you'll see both of them over here. I think they've just flipped it around, which is what they have usually done, at least on these latest releases. And that's embroidered here in a silver thread as well. It really works with the dash green coloring of the upper, in my opinion. Just looks really nice overall. Continuing with those silver hits, you do find them in the laces here, the standard 3M reflective laces, with the base layer being white. The aglets over here do have the 3 stripes done in black all the way around them, so just another smaller detail there. And then just swinging around into the heel section of the shoe, on the heel tab here, you do have a 3M reflective piece on the overlay here with the Adidas logo on the right shoe and the Pharrell Williams logo on the left shoe, both debossed in white. And then just flipping around into the medial side, you've also got that translucency, which is brought into the EVA plug or lace cage over here in the heel. And before I forget, they do also provide you with a second set of laces over here. This one's got more of a bluey sort of gray tinge. It kind of matches up with that plug here in the forefoot of the shoe, just in case you want to add a little bit more color to the upper of the shoe. And then flipping inside of the shoe, the sock liner is a lighter sort of gray mesh over there. That's that jewel there we spoke about a little bit earlier. And then the strobel or insole, at least, which is glued directly onto that Boost layer, is done in that lighty sort of gray blue color with that full sort of reflexology graphic we've seen on all Pharrells. Now, allegedly there were only 7,777 pairs made of the dash green colorway. We don't actually know how true that is. At least all the sort of main sneaker media publications had reported that. However, there were, or what seemed to be, a hell of a lot more pairs than that, globally speaking. I know here in South Africa, our allocation is always a lot less than what you would get in Europe or the States or any other major territory when it comes to sneakers. These still sold out pretty quickly. This side maybe not as quickly as some of the other colorways that have come out, like the triple black, like the triple white, etc. But nonetheless, we're still a complete sell-through here locally. Now, if you do want to get your hands on a pair of these, you are going to have to look to the aftermarket. As mentioned by now, they're mostly sold out everywhere. Maybe in the States or Europe, you might still be able to find pairs at retail, but locally speaking in South Africa here, you will have to look to the aftermarket. We do have some pairs here in the marketplace at story.capetown if you do want to get your hands on a pair, but I think probably only limited to a few sizes, if that. Now, from a sizing perspective on this particular pair, I would definitely recommend going a half size up if you do have that option. We didn't get half sizes here in South Africa locally, but you might have got them overseas. And the reason I say that is just the particular mesh that they've used on this pair is quite a bit thicker than I'm used to, at least with the primed uppers that you've got on some of the other variations of the Hue NMD. It definitely makes for quite a tight fit on foot. However, that said, going up a full size, which I did try, definitely was too big for me personally. I do think that there will be some stretch in the upper with lots of wear on this particular pair. So if that's the case, and you're happy just to kind of suck it up with a little bit of tightness in and around the ankle and the foot, then these are going to be good at true to size. But that is it for my review of the Dash Green Hue NMDs from Adidas and Pharrell. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you do have any further questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to get back to you as always, as soon as possible. And if you haven't already, please do me the favor, give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe right here for more content like this down the line. But that is all from me for today, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.